As I said at the top of this episode, we like to say we're experts in you, the client. And I know that you guys don't serve clients directly. So what ends up happening is that we marry our expertise in the client along with the amenities and perks that, of course, we can get through Virtuoso and on our side with your expertise in country using on the ground suppliers and with your destination specialists. So, but what I want to talk about how travel advisors like myself work with you and how that limits the volatility for the client and just presents like the perfect outcome.
Yeah, the number one question, and this is probably the single biggest reason why we don't work with travelers directly, is how do you know you're taking your trip versus your neighbor's trip, or your brother's trip, or your sister's trip, or your father-in-law's trip? How do you know it's not theirs? And I preface it by talking about this experience. This is years ago. This was back in 2003, I want to say 2003, 3, 4, right around there. We had a guest that was going to Rwanda to go gorilla trekking because somebody told him you have to do it. It was a must do. It was back when Rwanda was just brand new. It was the in thing. Not like today where all the hotels are there. It was very basic. And about, I think, one gorilla trek in, he called and said, no, this isn't for me. This isn't for me. It was not. It was at that point that we realized that we are doing a massive disservice to anybody who's looking to explore the world if we're simply filling an order. The biggest thing, you've heard the adage, in finance, the adage is the most successful people and the more successful C-level executives know what they know and know what they don't know. What's amazing is travelers, that is the biggest weakness. Knowing what you know and knowing what you don't know. It seems like that knowing what you don't know is a very short list. By the time we get done, it becomes a very long list. So that's where I think it's really important that for anything, for more than anything else, we have to be an information source. That's where travel advisors like you really come in and play a vital role, because you know intricacies about your guests that we would love to know, right? That if we known, we may have done something differently. Had we known, we may have done this differently or that differently or that differently. I just, as a matter of fact, just got off the phone with somebody with an advisor that was just specifically talking about what their guests have done on past trips, and then finding those nuances and building them in. Now, if we're an online company, if we're a company that works B2C, how are we going to know those intricacies until it's too late? How are we going to know what those are? So it's very, very important that the collaboration start early.
It is. In fact, it's critical, and we can take that knowledge together and make it seamless. And that kind of leads us to your process, which I love, which is where, we would take, I would take the initial inquiry from the client. I would come to you all, we would discuss it. And I would say, here's what we know, and then we'll discuss what we don't know. And then we get your destination specialists involved, and we do a call like this on a Zoom or the like.
I get really worried when somebody is not asking a million questions. I get really worried when somebody asks 10 questions, goes on a trip, and then they have a great time. I don't like surprises. I love planning surprises, but I don't like surprises myself.
Our job is to take the surprises out. We don't want them showing up and having a problem. We want it vetted. We want to know that the room, sea-facing room is not important to you, but a private tour is important. I mean, that's what matters. And that's, like you said, about taking not plug and play your brother's or your neighbor's experience into your own. They're different than you, and that's where we come in. I couldn't.
That's exactly it. Yeah, that's exactly it.